Well, this may seem like a bit of an anticlimax now, but I thank you very much to everybody who spoke. I think that was illuminating from many different sides. And this TMX struggle, it's amazing the different elements that it pulls together. And it really involves a whole way of life. And the whole way of life that's predicated on oil and capitalism and growing inequality goes back to an original colonialism, a continuing colonialism, and we have to do what we can about this. Would anybody like to say something? Yes, go ahead, sir.
There's been 41 or 40, about 40 complaints to have the Judge Fitzpatrick removed from the bench. There must be, this is what I think is probably the only avenue in which the public can put the judges on trial. So I encourage everyone to file a complaint. My understanding is that Judge Fitzpatrick said that there's no proof that there's any children in the 215. So I consider that a racist statement, and I think that should be dealt with by the public and removed because of that.
Okay, I'll stand over here. I don't want to stand in front of them. Yes, anyone else like to make a remark?
I'll
Yeah.
say something. I was arrested with my friend Lucy. We were the ones in the dinosaur suits. It was pretty awesome. And I just want to say thank you. I remember I was getting handcuffed and arrested and taken away by the police officer. And the police officer turned to my suit and he's like, "How did those things inflate?" And I was like, "With a fan and battery." And then he was like, "Okay." And then I asked him, like, "What do you think of the pipeline?" And he was like, "I try not to think about these things." And I was like, "Okay." He's like, "Yeah, I just do my job and then I go home and thank you. I go home and I do my job and I try not to think too much about these issues." And I'm like, that must be nice. It's it's really nice having to not think about these issues. But really the only thing I wanted to say was that when I was in the back of the van and my hands were cuffed and I was being taken away, I was laughing. I was feeling the happiest that I had felt in months, simply because I had taken action. And I think like talk is really important and discussion is really important and art is really important. But the most important thing we can do is take action, think how are we going to stop this, and do everything in our power to stop it, because that is when the fun and the magic really happens and we can truly make an impact.
Someone right here.
I don't really like using microphones. I don't really like using technology. I don't even really like talking. I'm a singer and a dancer, and if I had it my way, it'd be the only way I communicate. But people think it's a spectacle, they think it's something that you do, so that people will look at you. But, when I was at the creek, I did my best to be discreet, but they came running after me because they could hear my drum beat, and I tried to look after every person around me, but they hunted me down, and when they came for me, no one was around. And this is what I wonder. When they took me, no one saw, and I was left in the back of a paddy wagon, locked and bleeding and all, my shoulders out the joints, for 6 hours. Left in solitary confinement. Listen to my voice echoing off the walls, and I wonder where all the people are hearing our calls. They talk about the creek, how beautiful it is. And I put my life on the line like I would for all of you. And I really mean that. I would die for every one of you. But I wonder who would do that for me. And this is what I think we really fear for. And what we really cling and look for and are held dear for is our ability to care for one another, for our sisters, our brothers, our aunties, our uncles, our two-spirited. I say and I speak, and I allow myself to be visible and I allow myself to be seen, because I have seen things in the street. And at least, like you said, at least when I was at the creek, I was being beat down for a reason. I think about it all too, though, before I went to the creek, and how when I sang in the street, people throw money at my feet. When I was out there, I was a criminal. Not just by the police, but by those who thought we should be a work camp, by those who thought we should be this way or that way. But there's something powerful in the ceremony and recognizing who really is with us, and in that clarity, gathering together and singing our songs, being fearless and not needing to just speak it. Because when I was in front of the court, I asked them, I said, I wasn't obstructing anything. Every single time I was arrested, they corralled me and they threw me to the ground and they left me worse off. Unable to walk, unable to speak, I was concussed. But no one knows. Where are all these stories? We all want to pretend like it's going to be an easy arrest, and maybe for some of us it is. And for that, we're blessed. But the mercy, I remember thanking them for giving me water. Why am I thanking someone for a basic human right? But that's what our society has come to. We thank people for being polite. We thank people. That's not true respect. We really need to care for each other, but we come from these disorderly families where maybe even our parents didn't treat us with kindness. But I just want to thank you all for showing your art, for showing your face, for gathering, and I hope that when you leave these places, that you won't just be an anonymous face to each other, that you legitimately care for each other, that you show up, that you share meal together, and that you don't just think about the human relations, think about all the peoples. The human peoples are just one of our peoples on this place. And I know when we stop treating each other like a spectacle, that we're just something to listen to whenever we have one of these, that our voices are so powerful. I will sit and gather with you and I will listen for hours if you let me. But will you do that for someone else? Will you do that as you have here for me? Not because we have something official, not because other people are watching you, but you're watching you. So I hope when you leave here, as you said, it takes a lot to walk gently on the ground. When I was at the creek, I saw people hacking through with machetes so they could get to waterfall and save the forest. I saw people wearing military boots when I walked barefoot, even in the wintertime, so I could walk gently. We have to change the way that we walk through the world so we may walk gently. We have to be careful where our hands go, what our voices do. And we can live our life in a song. So when I looked at the judge, I said, I don't need a lawyer, I need a poet. I need someone that can translate me, translate my heart. And when I asked them, and they were looking at me and saying, these are the things you did, I asked, did you even look at my case file? And they answered no. Where are my body cams? How do I get that? When will I get my bail money? My charges have been dropped. But none of these people can help us because there's so much bureaucracy. So what I would really like to see is the people going to individual people and making relationships. And not just making, but creating. Because there's nothing that we need to restore other than our relationships. That's what will protect the forest. Is moving out of the spectacle and stepping into the full-bodied ceremony, which is every single one of your breaths. You are all incredibly sacred, and I'm really sorry to hear that this person's going to die, but as you said, this is history. But it needs to end, and it's urgent, because it will claim all of us. And I just thank you all. I'm a passionate person. I thank you all so much.
Yeah, so this is my niece, and I was attacked first by the cops. And we spent 7 hours together in a paddy wagon, and all we did was sing. We sang until they released us. I refused to give them my name, my number, and all that stuff. So that when it finally came to court, they didn't even know who I was. So I got charged, but yeah, whatever. But yeah, thank you for sharing from your heart. We'd like to sing a song. Yeah, if you guys don't mind, without a microphone, we'd like to sing a song. Are you okay with that, Ruben? Of course. Oh, and by the way, this was made for myself, and my Rita Wong received one as well at the creek, Fairy Creek. And after he gifted this, somebody please, thank you. Then he said we were married.
You just can't win.
Dear relative, Chilton, I'd like to share a song with you before you get back into whatever it is. If you guys would like.
Yeah, we visited Will in jail today. His lawyer's going to try to get him out on a hearing in the next few days. Appeal his sentence at the Supreme Court of Canada. We don't know how that's going to go, so he wants everybody to know that his spirit is strong. And please do, please do keep an eye. Thank you.
Yeah.